Hi guys, I'm surrounded by my orchids. I wanted to do a video. I'm asking you guys too about why we love orchids. Why do we grow orchids? What is it about this plant? Not trees or peace lilies or vines. I don't know. Why is it the orchid that makes us so crazy? What is it that we love about this plant? Why do we spend so much money on these plants? Why do we go out of our way to have the best growing conditions for them? What is it about these plants that we love more than other flowering plants that are just as pretty? For me, I love how different they are. There are, over 20,000 different species of orchids, and orchids can be found on every continent except for Antarctica. That's pretty cool. There are native orchids here in the high Sierras, only one that I know of, but if you go down in lower elevations, you can find more. And lady slippers, beautiful, amazing terrestrial lady slippers in North America. And Alaska has some really cool orchids too. Just to say a few of our North American orchids that are amazing. They're also endangered. A lot of orchids are endangered due to habitat loss. They're not a fast growing plant, so they can't necessarily keep up when their homes are desolated. Well, you know how long orchids take to grow. So there are a lot of orchids that are actually endangered. I also like how they've been around for a really long time. Orchids go back to prehistoric times. Orchids have been evolving for so long. Their scent has been evolving. The shapes of their blooms have evolved to attract certain pollinators. I mean, a great example is the bee. I'm going to keep my notes right here. I have notes. The bee orchid, I think it's in Europe. Its blooms look like a female bee to attract the male bee to pollinate it. They're tricky. They're masters of disguise. And they've got us wrapped around their finger. Well played, orchid. I love the different smells. You can have an orchid that smells like death, literally, or you can have an orchid that smells like, oh, the most amazing, oh, it smells so good, floral scent that just really brightens your day. And, sometimes they tend to send out their scents during different times of the day, different lighting. I like how they can brighten up a home. I love green. Green, since I've moved out west, I have really developed a love for the color green. When I lived back east, everything was green back east, You take it for granted. Then you move out here, and all you get are this dark pine tree green and brown. So for me, this beautiful grass green that they have, I love it. I love having them around, even when they're not in bloom. I love seeing their green. I love the flowers brighten up a room. And the blooms last a really long time for the most part, depending on the orchids, depending on the conditions. This little guy's been in bloom for a really long time. It lost its blooms for about a month and then sent out a secondary spike. And this little guy's been in bloom for another month or two. And there's already some more action on here. But if you don't have one of these cute little Phalaenopsis equestris, I like the anticipation. One of my favorite orchids would have to be the Paphipetalums. I love them. My husband doesn't love them. He thinks they're ugly and weird. But I love them because they're so weird. And I also love how they make you wait. I kind of enjoy that anticipation. It can take years for those plants to bloom, but when they do, it feels so good. Like you accomplished so much. And I think that's another reason why I love orchids. When they bloom, it's the best. It's like Christmas. The hybrids, besides the fact that there are over 20,000 different species and counting, there are still new species being discovered. I feel like Borneo is kind of an area that throws out new species of fish and plants all the time. But we, as humans, have been creating our own hybrids. And this is a zygopetalum and a, oh crap, I forget the other one is. But this is a hybrid. This is a hybrid. This is a hybrid. This is a hybrid. Most of the orchids that we keep, unless they're species orchids, they're hybrids. And that to me is fascinating. The genes and the genetics behind orchids and growing orchids is amazing. So really the science behind them is really cool. How you can take a brassia, for example. A brassia, another cool evolution flower, supposedly the brassia, with its long petals, evolved its flowers to look like that to attract a wasp. I'm not sure exactly which one it is, but one of the brassia types does that. Anyway, so you can take one of these brassia orchid flowers with the long petals, and you can breed it to something like this. Their flowers look nothing alike. Their leaves, they don't look that much alike. I have a brassia over there, so I was looking at it. But you can take these two orchids that don't look that similar, mix them together, and make something really cool. That's awesome. I would love to get into orchid breeding, but I don't have the patience or the money or the time to do it. But it's a fascinating thing, and I really enjoy that, and I think that's really cool. A really cool thing about orchids. And really, the biggest thing that I gotta give props to the orchid is the fact that they've got us. They've got the humans doing all of their work for them. Brilliant plant. Brilliant. We pollinate them. We care for them. We have been distributing them around the world. They've distributed themselves around the world over time in evolving to grow in those different environments. But we have been taking them, putting them in our homes, and making our environments work for them. Who's keeping who? Orchids are amazing. And that is why I love them. So please, leave a comment. Why do you love orchids? What is it that's got you what is it about orchids that's got you wrapped around their leaf? What is it? Tell me. I'd like to know what your favorite thing about orchid growing is, what your favorite thing about the plant is, and what your favorite plant is. Like I said, well, right now this one's my favorite because it smells so good. But the Papillum is one of my favorites. I think it's so cool. And I love its leaves. That's another thing. They come in different leaves, different shapes, different sizes, different colors, different patterns on the leaves. They're so cool. Yeah, so what's your favorite? My second favorite would have to be the Oncidium types. I do love Oncidium types and Zygos. I don't know. I can't really pick a favorite, but I do have a special place in my heart for Papillums, and I would buy a lot more if they grew just a little bit faster. Got a little love-hate relationship with them. Anyways, I've talked for enough. Thank you for listening. Oh wait, let's not forget the vanilla bean. The vanilla plant is an orchid. That's pretty cool. I just think that's cool. Alright, thanks for watching. Happy growing.